All right, so good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in. And today we have a very interesting personality with us, and it's my honor to share a virtual stage with him. Of course, there has been an introduction, and we have been in touch from quite some time. And today we will keep the discussion very much centric towards artificial intelligence and his journey as well. And I will ask certain tricky and ad hoc questions which I have faced during my engineering days, and I have heard from the audience after going around in India for sure. So at Z.Talks, which is our series as a part of Zubi, we bring community leaders, we bring technology experts, we bring academicians to share their journey specifically from the emerging technology perspective, and also how they can become a helping hand to the students who are viewing. My name is Aman Sanduja. I am the co-founder with Zubi. And today we have Dr. Deepak Garg, who is an academician, has over 20 years of experience. He is the director and head of the Department of Engineering or Computer Science at Bennett University, and also leading a position at NVIDIA Learning Center, and has started this beautiful initiative of leadingindia.ai. Dr. Deepak, thank you so much for joining in. Quickly about your introduction and how you have came across the artificial intelligence and what's going around in specifically the Bennett University.
Thank you, Aman, for taking our relationship forward. It has been a wonderful journey with you. So, especially related to AI, in last 6-7 years, we have seen that AI is growing exponentially year by year. So we have been very timely to get into this field. So initially, myself was working on intelligent algorithms and data mining, data warehousing, neural networks. But when this AI buzzword started around 2013-14, then we started moving our energies towards AI, deep learning, computer vision, reinforcement learning. So we felt that around 3 years back, the India was not progressing in the speed that other countries were already in. So, for example, China, Canada, USA, Israel, they were way ahead in the curve as compared to India. So it was our endeavor to start a public-private entrepreneurship so that we can create an AI ecosystem in the country. So taking that as a background, we started this platform called leadingindia.ai. And we were very fortunate to get the support and funding of many organizations, starting from Royal Academy of Engineering UK and Brunel University and University College London from UK. And in India, AICT, UGC, Niti Aayog, they supported us. And NVIDIA, Amazon, they were our industry partners with which we are still working. And the whole set of workshops and technology we are getting so many services from NVIDIA and Amazon as well. So now our success story speaks in itself. We have 1,000 plus institutions on board. We have trained 10,000 plus trainers who have in turn trained around 1 million students across the country. And we have given 600 plus internships at Bennett campus. So we have this DGX V100 supercomputer from NVIDIA, which is the first one in any private university. So that helped us to take our research to a different level with the help of our faculty. So this is a brief of leadingindia.ai. So I can take further questions if there are any specifics.
No, absolutely. This is wonderful, and definitely congratulations and wonderful wishes on the collaboration. And specifically, I personally wanted to learn more about supercomputers. I personally have read few days back, and it shook my mind and definitely pulled me back. Like, where are we? Kids are learning AI. McKinsey is saying, on the other hand, close to 1 billion jobs will be displaced by artificial intelligence. Where do you see India as a country on the map of artificial intelligence? And are we really prepared? Of course, one initiative which you have taken from leadingindia.ai. But do you see that across the nation there are some of the activities which are going on, and we would be able to possibly be hand in hand with China and US?
So that is a very timely question. So there are a lot of concerns regarding this particular aspect, because a few months back there was a survey of top 100 AI companies in the world, and you will be surprised that not even a single one from India. So adoption of AI in India is still a concern as compared to other countries due to many factors. So I think the top of that is the quality of human resources, which is a continuous obstacle to startups and corporations in India. It is not due to the fact that India is not producing quality professionals, but as you know, most of our good students from premium institutions, so they find their way offshore for lucrative offers. So all those at the upper end of the spectrum are picked up by global companies at a much higher price point, which is out of bounds for their Indian counterparts. So if you see health, agriculture, mobility, manufacturing, which are some of the top sectors which are attracting good AI adoptions, but these sectors in India are still far behind the global standards and are not ready for the AI wave and AI implementation. So they lack basic prerequisites to implement AI. So, for example, our healthcare system lacks integration and data sharing. So some of the areas where we are okay and had in AI adoption are banking and telecommunications, where we have entities which match the international standards. So some role is also played by the government, because the government need to pick up more speed in adapting its laws, regulations, and guidelines to the ever evolving nature of these new technologies. So by the time we come up with something, the technology goes to the next level and we are always following. So most of the startups in India are also looking for international customers, because relying totally on Indian customer does not fit into their survival and growth strategy and theory. So in China, Canada, Israel, US, if you see the volume of private investment and government investment, it is too huge as compared to India. So if we talk about jobs, the number of jobs that will be replaced is not concern in every sector. That concern is only in few sectors, but in other sectors jobs will not be lost, but it will be replaced with high end skills. So if the companies and the countries are able to transform the skilling sector and they are able to upskill the existing employees, then the job losses will be less. But there are specific sectors like mobility. So if we bring AI at a larger level to mobility for autonomous vehicles in future, so that is one example where we really will lose many jobs. I will give you one example. For example, in Holland, there was one restaurant which was fully automated with the help of autonomous robots. But after 1 year, they found out that the number of people they are employing were double the original number of waiters or the other people who have lost their jobs due to this. So we have to see that it will also bring about other lateral industries of maintaining those AI systems, of creating the whole infrastructure of those AI projects and other things. So we need to be very sector specific to know that which will be more prone to job losses and which will be less prone to job losses.
Interesting. Yes, I've also read about this Holland story as well, because in order to take care of the robots, you are employing more people, and there has been a shift. But coming back to a question few days back, my driver has also asked me, sir, these apps are coming up. Do you see the autonomous vehicles? I think he has watched the video of Tesla experimenting. So he said, what will be my role in that? So it's I mean I had to think through and give him an answer, and I told him that why don't you start learning new things? And I think it's pretty much utilized the time of COVID to learn English. Possibly would be applying for some of the other jobs as we see in the future. But look at India, AI, and thanks to AI, number one consumer app is TikTok. It's like a TV without a remote control. Do you see the learning shift happening? I usually call it BC as before COVID now. And now after this disruption which COVID has created in the market, do you see the shift in learning will happen? Because we have seen now the learning is not really limited to the university. And a couple of days back, I was reading MIT has sold 350 million courses online, but couldn't really teach 350 million people in the physical environment in the last 20 years. So, where do you see the shift? Before COVID in learning and after this disruption which COVID has created?
Okay. So I think the first part of mobility that you raised about your driver asking a question. So I was also faced with this question when some policymaker, they asked that how this mobility will happen in India, how it will transform. So my answer was that mobility, like what has happened with Tesla in other countries, cannot happen for next 10 years at least in India, because as of now we don't even follow the lane system. So as of now, those autonomous systems are not even capable of handling the Indian traffic for next 10 years. So definitely means the people involved should learn apps. Means many of the drivers now they use Uber and they use other apps, and I think now their interface is too simple, so anybody can learn that. And I used to give an example similarly in drones also. So when these courier companies they will start using drones, so there will be two options for the existing employees. Either they will lose their job or they will learn something, either how to run those drones remotely. It will not be too difficult. It is not like uh, doing with a fighter jet or something. It will have just few buttons which they need to operate, and either scheduling with the help of those drones, where those drones will be parked, where those drones will fly, how much will fly, how much they can carry, which drones is best to deliver which particular product. So all those things will have different people who will be managing all this. So the existing employees, I think around 75% who will be literate to some level, they will be able to pick up, because it is as good as running a smartphone. So that is one part of the answer. The other question was related to learning. So there my answer is yes or no, because I am hearing the comments from my students also in these days. And you are right, means in the Facebook, in the LinkedIn, if you see more and more people posting some certificate that I have learned this, I have learned in addition to this. And the time when this Coursera made some of the courses free for the whole world due to COVID, so people are very quickly picking up those courses which are from the prestigious universities. So definitely there is going to be a shift, and some of the schools, colleges, which we cannot even think that they will do online learning. So slowly and slowly, they have been also forced to go online. Their teachers are learning to use Zoom or Microsoft Teams or Google Hangout or something. So even people who are in the social sector, who are in the political sector, so they are learning to use these apps, and they are connecting remotely. But there is another part of this when it comes to the real experience of a college life, when it comes to teamwork that is required in any organization, and when it comes to the personality making. So when it will, because see, if you meet any friend, you talk about your hostel life, you talk about your college life. So if everything happens online, there will be nothing to talk about probably. So I think there are still some aspects which are not available online. Maybe we need more innovative products, which includes gameplays, which includes some team activities online. So if this goes for a longer period, then these apps will have more and more functionalities, which can be more closer to the physical interaction we have in the class and in the campus.
No, absolutely. Productivity is definitely a challenge. Look at the city called Bangalore. Somebody is moving from one place to another to go to the college. and then half of the teacher's job is going in the administrative work. Comes back, you're talking about from an experiential sharing when somebody's living in a hostel, but the productivity loss is a lot. I mean, I was sharing this example. I certainly was against the schools and colleges, not from a pedagogy, but from a time restriction. I'm not a morning person. I cannot wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and go to the class. And we have seen this challenge as well. I'm a person, if somebody is available at 2 o'clock in the night, I would like to learn from whoever. It could be anyone. I think their Zoom and other platforms have played very well in this social distancing kind of a module between a professor and a student. The distance they have captured it very well, providing the proximity. But coming back to the other side of the story as well, I think the laboratory experience will still be there, coming from the colleges. Like welding can never be learned online. You need to do experiments wherein there has to be a blended learning from the universities. So coming back to again the university question, I think this was either your university or some of the university in northern India, where I asked this question: do you see the artificial intelligence becoming a threat when the teachers started adopting in terms of their administrative work? Most of the students said yes, because we will not be able to do the proxy attendance because facial recognition will capture our face and will show us the trend, how attentive we were. So where do you see, my question to you is, where do you see the role of artificial intelligence coming from the K-12 administration work or the various aspects wherein teacher can focus on the learning rather than doing the administration work or the other activities, which is not really essential from an academic point?
So if we see in the current scenario, the most of the administrative work is related to the documentation for your accreditation or approvals, etc. So whether it is NBA, whether it is NAC or ABET or UGC approval, AICT approval. So as of now, most of that documentation has no component of AI involved. That is more of a online submission of forms, digitization of information. And second is you talked specifically about the attendance system. So we already have biometric systems and we are going to have face attendance also. But you can understand that these tech children are always ahead of the technology. So even when the face recognition will come, they can carry some face cards, or they can carry some new things where they can also kind of trick those AI systems, because the AI has this very big limitation, because this only works on the historical data. So that is a very great security hole also in the whole AI ecosystem, that AI works on known data patterns. So when your adversary also knows your data patterns, then he can easily play with it. So the same loophole students are also using in some of the institutions where they have started the face recognition systems. So they can make a cartoon which looks similar to you, or they can make a painting which looks similar to you, and somebody can just show it once when the camera is working, and your attendance can be taken. So still the systems are being developed so that it can be foolproof. But I think it will be interesting to see, because it is always a kind of a cat and mouse game between technology and human beings, and especially students.
No, absolutely, definitely. Deepfakes and other technologies will pick up. So, my only question to you after this becomes is, what do you think are the myths of AI? And is there, or there are some common misconceptions in adoption of AI or using AI when it comes to specific industries?
So I think myths of AI are one is that AI can do everything that is wrong. So AI cannot produce a product. That raw material has to be converted to the final material. AI cannot do that. AI can only help you in deciphering the quality process or the quality production. It can help you in the fast speeding up your production line. It can help you to follow up your architecture to convert that raw material into the product line. but still all those processes of the manufacturing has to be there. So they can also be automated through the robotized process, but automation processes were there before AI also. So I think the only myth is that most of the people are now mixing up digitization, AI, robotics, and all futuristic technologies into one. So if we see only AI, so AI is where it can automatically detect some patterns which we call classification, or it can predict something based on the existing series of events or series of data. It can predict something. So it is either doing detection or it is doing classification. So these are the two things that AI is doing, and there are wonderful applications of this in every field. So you may have yourself seen that many of the startups, almost 100% of the new startups, they say that we are working in AI because otherwise they may not get any funding. But most of them are just kind of cooking up the things that they are using AI, because in many cases their product doesn't even need AI. So even the statistical making graphs with some Excel files or with some statistics are also now considered AI. Some data science, preliminary data science or statistical inference is also considered AI. So we need to break those myths. So, and other is the explainability of AI. So that is creating a big issue because the uh, number one sector in which the AI has to make tangible impact is healthcare. But in healthcare, we cannot replace any system as of now because the existing laws and the existing architecture of AI is not supporting the full uh, life cycle of the healthcare system. So as of now, it can only be assistant or enabler to the existing workforce and can increase the speed of decision making and can increase the confidence of decision making of the doctors. So those things we need to see, which are the common myths in AI.
No, absolutely. So, like you talk about, most of these startups are using AI, but there is not really a requirement. So, do you have any three quick bullet points where to use AI? Like in blockchain, we usually say that when you have trusted parties, when you have multiple stakeholders, when you have a lot of a documentation and you question the authenticity. So, is there are any three parameters or three bullet points to consider when to use AI or which product to use artificial intelligence?
Yeah, so I think the number one is because whenever you use an AI product, then people say that this is producing a output which is some X% accurate. So any organization will replace the existing system with the AI product only if the accuracy level is more than the human level or the machine level accuracy which is already there. So, for example, if you are, let us say, doing a quality check on your manufactured product or some other technology. So, if your AI system will be able to do a quality check with more accuracy than the existing system, then only your AI system is useful. So, that is number one thing. So second is that you also need to see whether AI is making a business sense to you. So in many cases, if your system is very small or if your data points are very small, then they are equally good to be done with the traditional systems also. So in that case, making an AI investment will not make any business sense. So that may be true for the small companies in some cases. So that you have to see that whether implementing AI makes a business sense to you. And first I said that whether it will accuracy will be more than the human level accuracy. And third, you need to see whether AI can transform your future business model and can enhance your business deliverables, because many companies are able to expand their business model or expand their innovation, expand their products because of the AI intervention. For example, in education sector, somebody doing assessment. So now with the help of AI, they can do a different level of assessment or a different type of assessment. And similarly, many other industries are expanding their product line because of AI. So I think these 3 bullet points, if these fit into your system, then you can definitely go for AI implementation.
Perfect. That really helps me as well, because next time I will be evaluating a startup, I will look at into these 3-4 points. But Dr. Deepak, if you look at from a perspective, the learning is shifting from even uh, high schools to junior schools. One of my cousins in class 4 is reading about problem solving and has started learning about the basics of machine learning and data science. I mean, more than having him as a fear, his parents have a fear that possibly he will not be employed because there's a lot of AI buzzwords. So he asked me a question: at what age you have started learning all these? I said possibly in second year of college. He said that 16 years or 13 years way ahead. I mean, at what age I am learning? So do you see that a lot of startups, or do you see a lot of companies will come in this sector of making students of age 3, age 4 to age 16, 17 equipped before they enter into the universities with artificial intelligence, machine learning, or some kind of prerequisite which can help them build a foundational skill?
So you are saying that companies will come. I am saying that companies are already there. I have discussed with some of them that even I think the first instance came around a year back. So some of the schools, international schools, have already started making syllabi for introducing AI, blockchain, IoT, robotics from 6th class onwards. And in some of the countries, you may have read in the news, they have also made task forces that how AI, algorithms, computer science, that can be started from 4th standard. So I think, yes, this is relevant, because if a particular technology is slowly transforming the society, then it is the right of the school students also to learn something about it. So initially means where I consulted with one of the companies. So initially in 6th and 7th class, we started with the introduction of artificial intelligence, what it is, what are the different applications in different fields. And then in 9th and 10th, we started with some of the demonstrative projects that these students can learn, so that they have at least the understanding that what are the building blocks of any AI projects. So then any all the schools, I think slowly they need to have small labs which have some AI components, some IoT components, some robotics, some AR VR devices, so that the student understand that how these futuristic technologies are going to work when they go to the university level. However, the characteristics of education at school and university level will remain different, because when the students come to us at university level, we see that whatever they have learned in some good schools also, that is at a different style and level what we teach, because we go from an engineering standpoint of view, that how to solve a full system and how you will implement it in a real life, while at the school level that is more towards understanding the concept and making a demonstrable project.
But I mean, we are talking from a perspective of urban population. Large part of an India is in rural, and there are some of the schools which do not really have the learning facilities or learning logistics available. And we are trying to equip possibly 10 to 12% of the population, starting from grade 3rd, grade 4th, towards emerging technology, specifically focus on AI. A lot of universities are also coming specifically teaching on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So where do you see a hand-in-hand approach can work? Like I'm a mentor with Atal Innovation Lab, which is set up by NITI Aayog. So where do you see hand-in-hand work can be done from possibly with the help of academicians like you, startups like us, and large part of the population which is there in rural, along with the policy making? What can
That
be
is a
the
very
yes?
that's a very good
Yes,
point.
please.
6 months back, we collaborated with the NGO who was working with rural schools on latest technologies. So they are right now working with around 20 uh, plus schools with the help of some CSR funds from some companies. And when we means I was not very sure that in a government school at middle level what they will be doing, but then we did a real experimentation, and we went in the field and we saw that what those students are doing with this NGO. So it was really amazing experience that some of the students in rural schools with the help of these NGOs were doing very good projects in IoT and AI. So I think that can be one model where the CSR funds of some of the companies can be deployed in rural areas. Because if we put it only on the onus on the government, then it will be very difficult, I think. So, and there will be level of different. What you are saying is right, that in rural also there are villages at a very remote level. There are villages near to the cities, there are villages near to the metro. So that difference will remain, and that time gap will remain definitely.
Absolutely. So I think let's possibly have a common ground wherein we can make India move towards the digitization and learning towards the larger capabilities, specifically focusing on emerging technologies. Dr. Deepak, few days back, I was reading AI in storytelling. Storytelling has always been with possibly the help of grandmothers, grandfathers, or somebody elderly teaching you with that emotion. And we all have read from Sendak to Spielberg to Proust to Pixar. They all have electing our emotions. So how is it possible? I mean, I am curious. With an instinctive read of our pulse, we used to tell the story with the time of the day. If it's night, then it has to be a lullaby story. If it's a morning time, there has to be a learning lesson. So how AI in storytelling can actually work?
So this is a very good question and example you have given. Because similarly, I was reading today that some people in Google Brain, they have developed a system which can also play jokes with you. So and another system which has been made by IBM is that they can do a like a the the system can talk with you, means they can debate with you. So in the older Indian society, Shastrarth was considered one of the most intellectual activity. So now if computer will be able to do that Shastrarth and that debate and put emphasis where how to give arguments or listen to your arguments. So that was demonstrated by IBM Israel few months back. So I think in the same way, the example you have given, definitely there are preliminary AI systems available which can write a story and which can speak a story to you. But more needs to be done, means more localization needs to be done. It needs to be developed in more languages, more vocabulary needs to be added, and more variety needs to be added. But definitely now this is in the purview of the technology, that I can say. So I think it is scary also, it is interesting also, but yes, it is there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So you talked about healthcare. See, I have a lot of questions. I'll keep time in mind as well. You talked about healthcare. India is a country with a population of 1.35 billion. Close to 300 million people are suffering from depression. We have got these softwares and products which can cater to cancer and some of the what you call high level of disease. But 300 million population and large part of it working in the corporate sector. Do you see that artificial intelligence can play a role over
here? It can definitely play a role, but in that case, I think every stakeholder has to work on a war footing level. Because from my experience of last 3-4 years in the healthcare sector, means I have many stories which I don't want to tell, that doctors, hospitals, clinicians, means nobody is ready to share the data, nobody is ready to collaborate with each other. So all are looking for some benefits, all first want to know how they will benefit. Instead of contributing, their first question is that how it makes business sense for them. So I think if there has to be something, then the effort has to be of that level. Otherwise, the ground realities in healthcare are very much different as of now. So they don't scale up to the level that we can implement AI directly. So there has to be massive mobilization of funds and massive mobilization of technology for healthcare. Laws needs to be changed, then ethics principles, everything, regulations, everything needs to be relooked at. So a lot of things will be required if we really want to change the healthcare in India.
Absolutely. So I think we have had this panel discussion right before your interview. So we have had a lot of discussions around healthcare. It comes with data integrity and other issues as well. But I agree, a lot of stakeholders are looking at what's in for me. I mean, what's my benefit? So coming back to possibly the second last question of our discussion, there has been a term which is coining in the market is artificial general intelligence or AGI. What is it all about, and how do you want, or how would you like to comprehend for our viewers that what it is, how it is different from artificial intelligence?
So actually, artificial intelligence, what we normally talk about is artificial general intelligence. But what we don't talk about is artificial super intelligence. So when people sometimes say that whether AI will eat humanity, whether it is a challenge to humanity, whether someday robots will be superhuman beings and we will be their slaves. So those things we are talking about super AI. So when AI is kind of a prime minister of a country, when AI is a controller of your office, when AI is your boss, so when that particular situation will arrive, then that will be artificial super intelligence. So whatever we are talking today, that is artificial general intelligence.
Okay, so coming back to the term which you have mentioned, like a robot will eat my job, do you see that humanity and AI can work together?
So I think there is a saying that now we are at the crossroads. So there will be only one chance for the humanity to take a right decision. So that will depend upon whether all political forces can come together and take a decision. So that time will come shortly. And if the decision is taken in the right direction, then humanity will be saved. Otherwise, definitely there is a scare that humanity will be lost to those robots. And the next thing what that person has said is that 99% of chances are that we will be wrong, that we will be taking wrong decision. Because in current COVID-19 situation, also you are saying that most of the world leaders, how they are behaving. So similarly, when it will be a question in front of the humanity to decide something for saving humanity, so again there will be political selfish motives that will be put in front of the humanities. What is happening with the environment, same thing will happen there then also. So yes, we are means we may face a scary situation, but as of now, at least for next decade, we should not be worried.
Absolutely. So we are at the end of the beginning, and this is the right time, and this is the last chance for all of us, and specifically, the class of 2020 is very much worried. I mean, we are graduating at a time, possibly what will happen. The people are not hiring, the companies have laid off a lot of employees, and we have a lot of people who are watching from class 2020 as well. So do you have any message for them? Like, do they have to worry? Because I have graduated close to a time of financial crisis as well. So do you see that there has to be a question which has to be answered from possibly an academic like?
So I think this is a time of opportunity also, because a lot of innovations are now required, which were not even thought before. So even when we talk of a video conferencing, when we talk of a online chatting, when we talk of working from home, when we are talking from new normal for the life, so a lot of new opportunities have come forward for the class of 2020. So if they can take any of these problems as a challenge, and many of the companies from where they may have got offers are also now working on new solutions. Even government of India has also given a lot of call for proposals where they are looking for some innovations from the fraternity. So they should, I think, take this challenge. Later on, they will feel that it was a very right moment for us. If they make something out of it, then they can make it big.
No, absolutely. I read this line: China, AI, and your data slash integrity. So definitely, we need in-house solutions from an Indian ecosystem. And I think Minister of Law and IT has also uh, released a proposal that we're looking at some kind of an in-house solution which can replicate Zoom, and it can be more Indic in nature. One
Yeah.
last question before I open up for the participants. So, what is a step-by-step guide for somebody who wanted to learn through the Leading India vertical or Leading India organization which you represent?
So I think step-by-step guide is that one is that you don't need to fear about AI. AI learning is very simple. That is why so many graduates and so many non-computer science professionals are also picking up AI and related technologies. So I think the first step may be that we offer, now we have from next month we are starting virtual internship also, internship from home. If the physical internship may not be possible, so they can start with our virtual internship where they will get a very good grasp of the AI foundations and they will do a project on AI. And then so they can go for a larger project. So I think whoever is hiring in AI, they will be looking at your GitHub profile and what contributions you have made in the community. So nobody is now looking at only certification or only your knowledge. So they really want to know what projects you were working on, how you have improved a particular model, how you have innovated something on some parameter. So they want to note that. So unless you have not done 2 3 projects on AI, so there is no chance in the job market. So that is what we are trying to provide. Thank you.
Okay, so practical learning experience along with the theoretical understanding is definitely of relevance and importance. And a lot of companies and organization will have a checklist in terms of looking at the projects and contributions they have done it on the GitHub and open source platform. So, thank you, Dr. Deepak. This has been a wonderful discussion. I personally have learned and got different perspective towards life. So, I'm moving towards the question. We have Punit Agarwal who is asking question: how and where I can learn building an UAV with a combination of artificial intelligence.
Okay, very good question. So, from my personal point of view, we have both specializations starting in Bennett University. One is on robotics and automation, another is on artificial intelligence. And we have done many UAV projects. But apart from that, online also, you need to do two different courses. First, you need to understand the terminology of UAV, you need to understand the sensors and the different flight scenarios, how much weight is required for different UAVs, how much they can fly, what are the battery details for each UAV, and what kind of sensors you can have, which cameras can be there, how many cameras should be there, what should be the height of UAV for taking a particular type of and quality of images. So once you need to understand that, and the second part is AI, that once you have data from your sensors, either it is vibrations from the atmosphere or the temperature or the moisture or the images you are taking or the video you are capturing, so then how you need to process that with the help of computer vision or with the help of video analytics or with the help of the other neural networks. So these are the two aspects which you need to integrate. So you can, there are very good courses available in both these categories on Coursera, edX, Udacity, Udemy. So I think you can start from there.
Okay, great. So I think there's not a lot of courses which are available, Dr. Deepak, but as a person who's studying in college, I think the direction is missing, which I think with the help of your institution and the organization, there can be a direction which can be provided. And we at Zubi are also trying our best where we would be collaborating with institutions. So I think the other question is, do you think that humanoid robots like Sophia are making the beginning of or disrupting the industrial revolution 4.0?
Is definitely they are kind of a symbolic to this particular revolution that is happening. So otherwise means only Sophia is not making any revolutionary changes in the word itself, but they are one of the milestones in the whole journey of AI in the world. So somebody has to kind of start taking the initiative. For example, this UAE has made their first citizen as Sophia. Now Sophia is also tweeting or retweeting the technology trends and doing other things. So, in one sense, definitely for the new generation, this is a beginning of new era because more and more of things like this will come up. Uh, and in other sense, if you see overall, then there are much bigger things happening in the industry. So, which are transforming the manufacturing, which are transforming how we understand things, which are transforming the mobility. So, yes.
Okay, so the next question is, what is your opinion on Elon Musk's opinion on AI? I think he's referring to the debate which has happened between Jack Ma and Elon Musk, where one was saying that humanity will definitely exist, and Musk was saying that AI and robots will displace or replace the jobs of the humans.
So I think we have already discussed this in our previous question that it will depend upon the collective intelligence of the leaders of this human race, that how they take it forward. So it will not depend
Absolutely.
either on yeah. So Elon Musk or Jack Ma will not decide. It will be decided by the Trumps and Putins and those leaders of this era.
Absolutely. So I think there was somebody was quoted as well. The next World War, if it happens, it will be majorly on the questions of digitization and a lot of an advancements and adoption of technology. One last question which I wanted to ask you is, where do we see uh, a tremendous use case or a potential use case in healthcare? Of course, we have looked at the use case wherein you can scan the leaves and it can tell you what disease the plant is suffering from. So, from a farmer perspective, where do you see the artificial intelligence can play a role and can help him or her in looking at what could be the effectiveness of the crop which he is going to plow?
So I think means there are still some of the diseases which have not been properly discovered, where still there is no solution. And if we see the precision farming, that is one of the effective solutions from AI. So this precision farming solution has been given by Israel, where you have a robot in the field or a tractor in the field, which is an automated tractor, so which works like a laser printer or a printer, so which sprays three kinds of things. One is fertilizer, another is your water, and third is your pesticides. So it immediately from the surrounding taking a 360-degree view, so it knows about the current conditions of the environment, the moisture, the temperature, the sunlight, and the existing quality of your leaves and diseases of the leaves, and it supplies relevant these three things, it sprays. So we are saving 30% on the resources and we are increasing 30% yield. So it is a kind of a two-in-one benefit that we are getting. So I think we need to further enhance this solution and make it more localized, because different solutions will be required for different geographies and for different plantations. So I think that is one of the strategy that we should work on.
Yes, I think this is definitely a beautiful example, and startups have started working on it. The other one which I came across is I can answer possibly on the question is with respect to the demand and supply. So the farmers would grow with respect to the actual need, the warehouses would not get overloaded, and then you can do it with the help of a lot of data collection models and all. The last question over here is definitely related to COVID. So, what is a classical use case uh, of artificial intelligence to curb problems like COVID or this pandemic which we are facing?
Definitely. So, I think just a few days back, we have heard about this, that Stanford is using natural language processing to find the clues in the existing literature, existing scientific literature, to find out how the coronavirus delivers the payload to the cell nucleus. So after having that information, we can find the known proteins that can act as inhibitors for this process. And fortunately, they were able to find 15 of them. So immediately those became the candidates for the further trials and experimentation. So this task, which may have taken years to find out, was done only in few days with the help of AI. So now they are working on further trials on those 15 inhibitors of proteins that can resist the payload which a COVID virus can give to our cells. So I think that is one of the big news in AI.
Where India can use artificial intelligence to actually possibly understand what's the behavior of the people who are suffering from COVID. I understand. I and also have personally downloaded Arogya Setu app as well. But we are still lacking on the adoption of emerging technologies, specifically from getting the applications in this kind of a scenario. So, do you see that AI can be used from an India kind of an ecosystem or India kind of a nation? One is the Stanford has used in order to understand the literature, where AI can be used from a perspective of the people who are suffering from COVID or potential development of COVID can happen in the people.
So there are three things. I think one is prediction, one is diagnosis, and the third is treatment. So India can use it in prediction because that is easier one. So where it can use the data from different states, from different cities, from different patients, and predict that how it is going to spread further, or how they should behave, how they should make the policy based on this prediction. But specifically in diagnosis and treatment, the biotechnology companies, they need to be glove in hand with the computer science people who are specialized in AI. So I don't think we have that kind of resources and infrastructure as of now in our pharmaceutical companies and biotechnologies companies. So I think India will be using AI more in prediction than in diagnosis and treatment.
Perfect. Thank you so much. There are some repeated questions as well, and apologies if I did not pick your question. We'll send out to the speaker if any specific thing needs to be answered. Thank you so much, Dr. Deepak. It was a pleasure to have you on our show. And it was definitely a phenomenal learning for the participants, and specifically for me. And I will bulletize the 3 points of our discussion. A career in AI and ML is possible. Humanity and AI can work better together. And it's your last chance to take a plunge, else it will be too late for the humanity. Thank you so much, Dr. Deepak. Please stay safe, and looking forward to have further interactions.
Thank you, Aman. It was wonderful talking to you.